And we are live. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the DJ Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm happy for you guys on the check-in. It's a nice, hot day in the New York metropolitan area. It was almost 100 degrees today. I hope wherever you guys are staying cool. Spook Round 4Q. Early, first in the building as usual. What's good? Joker's Oddball was good. Big Bat was good. This is interesting. Carrie Vines. Your brother didn't expect the challenge. The second L he took in hip hop. I don't even know what this is all about. I don't know what the first L was, but are you talking about the Lord Jamar challenge? Did he accept that challenge? Am I missing something? I'm so over that, by the way, y'all, that Spook Realm 4Q says, come down, Kenny Parker. Yes, Haitian Space Program. What up, early peeps? Imperial J, the MC. I see all the regulars. Dan Marazuti, what's good from Canada? Derek Stencil. I don't know if I recognize this name right here. Derek Stencil. Peace from Oklahoma. Yo, I can safely say I've never been to Oklahoma. I can say that with authority. What's good in Oklahoma? I know football is big there. Your basketball teams are pretty good. What you doing out? What's going on in Oklahoma, dude? Let me know. Mary Cakes Muhammad, what up? Happy belated birthday. Thank you. My birthday was last week. Thanks for all the shout outs. Old School Fool. What's up? I don't recognize that name. What's good? H. Bippy. Always a pleasure. What's good, H. Bippy? FU2. All the regulars are here. Michael, what's good? Where they do that at? What's up? Dre Stack Dollars. Salute. Jay Wu. I love to see the regulars in here, man. Y'all come in every Tuesday, and this is why I do it. I really, 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 really appreciate you guys, man. Jay Wu 72, what's good? Rosmel, Super Rab, what's good? Aaron Stamper, KP, what's up? I don't recognize that name. What's good? Emma Brown, hey y'all, good evening, good evening. Kathleen Literary Crochet, what's up? Terrell McMillan, KP, what's good, bro? Crazy week, huh? LJ Challenge and all. Yeah, I'm seeing the challenge, but I don't know if it's just a challenge or did anybody accept the challenge? I mean, a challenge is a challenge. Me personally, I don't even see why anybody would respond to it, but did I miss something? Did somebody accept the challenge? Ilray says, got the sex and violence record in the mail this week. It's so dope. Thank you for picking that up. I think they only made 500 copies. And I don't have one. I think I have an original one, but I don't have this new reissue. And it came fast, too, because they just asked me, I would say about 2 weeks ago, I got an email from somebody associated with Sony Records asking me about my publishing splits on the songs that I did on sex and violence. And next thing you know, it's out. That was like 2 weeks ago, y'all. So it was already ready to go. They didn't even do the publishing splits yet. Crush the Soul Enforcer. Mississippi listening. What's good, Mississippi? The real brother Rob. Hey, yo, Kenny, keep holding it down, bro. Thank you so much. The show is really coming along great, and we appreciate you. Love and respect from California. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Derek Mallory, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities. I have been to Minneapolis. I think BDP did a show there back in the 80s is the last time I remember being in there. Jesus, Philadelphia in the house. You know I love Philly. This is a good one. J. Will Hill video shoot. Speak on it, Kenny. What do I remember about the Hill video? I remember that I did not like my appearance in that video. Here's the truth about that video. It was shot by the director of Silence of the Lambs. For those that don't know, Ted Demme, rest in peace, is the creator of Yo MTV Raps. His brother, Jonathan Demme, is the Oscar award-winning director of Silence of the Lambs. So they both were directing the Heel video. So I saw Jonathan Demme, and they was like, that's the guy from Silence of the Lambs, which is my all-time favorite movie. And I saw him, and I walked up to him. I said, excuse me, sir. I don't mean to bother you, but I just wanted to let you know that Silence of the Lambs was just incredible to me. I know you hear this all the time. I just wanted to say that. And he laughed, and he says, you know, I do hear that all the time, but you can say it again. And that was funny. And he said, what's your favorite part of the movie? And I had so many favorite parts, but I drew a blank. And I said, when at the, towards the end of the movie, when they were ringing the bell and the FBI thought they were at the real house, and Clarice Starling was at the fake, Clarice Starling was actually at the real house, and they were ringing the bell, and how they played both camera angles. I hope I'm not giving away the movie for those that didn't see it. But I thought that was incredible. And he said, thank you. And he left. And what I remember is they were shooting that video all in one take. They were doing one take. So there's no edits. So the camera went from beginning, everybody had like a rehearsed piece. So it went from beginning all the way through to the end. It's supposed to be one take all the way through. And I remember at the end, I came bouncing through the video all extra happy for some reason. And I hated it. When I saw the footage, I was like, why am I was like the biggest person out there, and I came bouncing through, and I literally hated it. And I went to Chris, my brother, and I begged him. I was like, man, please edit me out of that video. Please take me out. Please take me out. He was like, no, I'm leaving it. The video is shooting one thing straight through. There's no edits. So you're in the video. And so I to this day hate my appearance at the end of that video, but it is what it is. One last thing I remember about that video was that Queen Latifah was there. Shout out to the Queen. And there was a guy with her, and he was putting up stickers on the wall. And the sticker said, are you down with OPP? And I'm looking at the stickers, and I'm like, what is this OPP? And I asked the guy, I said, what kind of stickers are you putting up? He was like, this is my new single that's coming out next week. My name is Tretch. And I was like, nice to meet you, Tretch. Good luck on your single. It only took like 2 weeks, y'all. About 2 weeks later, OPP was the biggest record in New York City and probably about to be in the country. And I remember it was 2 weeks earlier, some unknown dude was sticking up OPP stickers all over the freaking walls. So shout out to the Panani Don Tretch. So that's my memories on the Hill video off the top of my head. Great question. Earl Green, what's up from Durham, North Carolina? 73 Trini, what's good from Sims Deli, my man? Derek Stenzel said, I'm holding down real hip hop here in Oklahoma. Woo, must only be a few of y'all out there. DJ Green Hornet, what's good? Criminal Minded, that's a great name. KP, what's up? Anyway, what's up? MMA Crossfire in the building. Rod Justice in the building. Says I got the All-Star game on in the background. Dope. A Steel, happy birthday. Thank you so much. I want to scroll down a little bit because I be forget. I don't see all of the comments live. I do go back and look at them after I get off the air, but sometimes I miss comments and some things that I would have gotten to, but I just didn't see them. Terrence Hill says, what's good, Kenny and the peeps? Just want to let you know I'm on chapter 14 of your book, Fire. Thank you so much for purchasing the book. I really appreciate it. Once again, I plug every week. For those that don't have the book, My brother's name is Kenny. It's chock full of information. A lot of the questions that you guys ask on the channel and the real origin of BDP. And this link is in the description below if you want to pick it up. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, dude. There's one more chapter. There's a lot of stuff going to happen in chapter 15, by the way. Kennard Roberts, what's good? Oh, this is dope. Michael, I'm 14. Big up. Love the real boom bap. Respect to the youth. Yeah, thank you so much. You're 14. Wow. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. Yeah, we talk old school hip hop here, and you're getting a good education, man. Start from the boom bap and work your way up. Really appreciate you in the house, Michael. Thank you so much. And shout out to your parents too, by the way. They're doing a great job. Boy Kimmer says DJ Kenny fan Parker. That's actually a funny story too. I think that comes from the live. KRS called me that in the Boogie Down Productions live hardcore video. It's up on YouTube. You guys can check it out. The first live video in hip hop history, and I DJ'd most of it. And I was brand new to DJing then. I wanted to do a whole breakdown on that video because there's a lot of funny stuff and behind the scenes things in that video that I want to talk about, but because of copyright things on YouTube, I can't really play it so you guys can hear it. But there's so much. I really want to do a whole video breakdown on the BDP Live album because there's a lot of funny stuff and mistakes and craziness that happened that day of filming. But I can't play the audio or I'll get flagged. So, but yeah, in that video, Chris always was saying he calls me Kenny Fan Parker because I'm always a fan of certain artists. And he like, why are you always a fan of people? You know, but I love hip hop, and I sometimes, you know, I'm excited to meet people that I grew up listening to and people that I respect. And I'm even a huge KRS-One fan too. Not even that he's my brother, but just on a hip hop tip, I'm a huge KRS-One fan too. And I've told him that too. But yeah, so that's actually funny that you brought that up. Yeah. Big Bat says Dallas up in here. KP, what's good? My name is pronounced Daynell. And one M from Long Island, but lived out in Cali. Daynell, you know, I'm sorry. I mispronounce your name every week. I'm sorry about that, Daynell. And I'm probably gonna mess it up again from the way I see it, because the way it goes past, that's how I see it. I'm sorry, Daynell, but thank you so much for checking out the channel and always being a regular too. Riding Dirty Face, that's a new name. What's good? I've been passing around your book and telling people if they like it to buy a copy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. What's this? Imperial James, he said, what challenge? I missed something? Yeah, I just see this stuff online. I'm kind of separating myself from that whole mess, but apparently Lord Jamar has challenged KRS, Fat Joe, I think Pete Rock, Buster, whoever, to challenge him to debate the origins of hip hop or whatever. I don't know. You also answered my question about D-Night's contribution to I'm Still #1, which is my favorite BDP song. It's one of my favorite BDP songs too. I talk about how I first heard it in the book, and yeah, one day I would like to get Derek on this channel, man. He's the biggest DJ in the world right now, so it might be a little difficult, but I want to get my boy D to come on here because that would be hilarious. He has a wealth of information, and I would love to get him on here. Sorry, I gotta drink that water. I got the AC blasting too. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but it's real in these streets. I love summertime. I'm not complaining, but it's hot, y'all. And here's what this is crazy too, Nicholas. Common and Pete Rock, I still haven't had a chance to sit down and listen to the whole album yet. But I will. There's a bunch of albums that I got to get through. A lot of people have dropped some great stuff. A lot of classic artists have dropped new music, and I want to get a chance to listen to it all. I've just been real busy this week, so I haven't had a chance to go through it. And I'm so thankful that my man Pete came on the channel and blessed us with his time, considering the run that they're on right now. We got Pete Rock kind of early. For those that missed it, Pete Rock was on this channel about a month and a half ago. Y'all guys can go back and check it out. And by the way, next week, God willing, my boy from Black Moon and the Beat Miners, Evil D, will be on the channel. That is my brother from another mother. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I want to really pick his brains about his production. The Beat Miners are one of my favorite producers of all time. And I want to get into that whole Black Moon, Smith & Wesson sound that they created. So next week, Evil D will be in the building. And hopefully I can get Walt too. But he will definitely be here. Let me scroll down a little bit. Trying to get everybody. J. Del Reed. Shout out Kenny Parker. Peace, King. Peace. Anyway, is that's how it goes? Like this, anyway. Who said that? The reggae artist said that. Anyway, Movado. Kenny, what do you think of breakdancing being in the Olympics this year? I think it's absolutely incredible to see the heights that hip hop has gone to, y'all. This little piece of the hip hop umbrella that started in the 70s has made it to the biggest competition there is in the world, that there ever was in the world. The Olympics is the pinnacle of sports competition, and hip hop is in the building. This is unbelievable. And that's why I don't even want to get into this subject, but that's what I'm saying. We're sitting here arguing over who made what. And hip hop is in the Olympics. And people are trying to say breaking shouldn't even be hip hop. What the hell is going on? Let me scroll down a little bit, y'all. Napoleon, what up, my brother? You know how we do. What it do? Checking in again from France on the late night. What's good? What time is it out in France, man? Are we 6 hours ahead or we're 6 hours back? I think we're 6 hours. You guys are 6 hours ahead of us. Terrence Hill out here in Fort Lauderdale holding it down. Shout out to Fort Lauderdale. Thank you so much. Heal yourself. Dope video. Heal yourself. It was a dope video, except for my part. Shout out to D Nice on the track. D Nice produced Self-Destruction and Heal. Douglas Carter says Cincinnati up in here. Word. Shout out to Cincinnati. I do believe we did some shows there. Terrence Hill. My dude Lenny S is in the Hill video. Word. Lenny S. That's my dude. Shout out to Lenny Santiago. He's in the Hill video? Oh, shit. I did not know that. Oh, my God. Anthony August. What's good, DJ KB? Don't you believe that KRS has a responsibility to accept the challenge of Lord Jamar? Why is he hiding? I don't even know where to begin with that one. I don't think anybody has any responsibility to anybody but themselves. Nobody has no responsibility to Lord Jamar. A responsibility to accept the challenge from Lord Jamar, and he's hiding. KRS is actually on a tour right now. He's on the road. But hiding from Lord Jamar, I don't know, man. I'm going to let that comment just stay where it is. I say no. I don't even think it's worth even going that deep in it. Damon Clark, yo, Kenny, what's good? Have you ever read the book Silence of the Lambs? No, I never read the book. Never heard anything about it till the movie came out and blew my mind. Kenny, have you still got your BDP jackets? Can we see them someday? You know, that's a real sore spot to me because I used to have the jackets and I got rid of them over the years and lost them. That's a real tough question for me, man, because I wish I still had all of my BDP paraphernalia, man. I've probably had 2 jackets made for me. One I wore on Arsenio. I had a jacket made for me that I wore on Arsenio Hall one time, and one, we had a whole yellow leather jumpsuit. Shit was crazy. BDP on it that I had, and we wore it overseas. There's an overseas video of BDP did a live television show in either Germany or Paris. I think it was Paris. We did some kind of live TV show in Paris. We did You Must Learn in 90, and I had on a yellow BDP jumpsuit. So I had 2 that were made for me, and then I stole a couple from KRS. And I had those that I ended up losing and lost it somehow. He had a white one with green stripes. I think he wore it on the cover of the is it Love's Gonna Get You, or is it the Live Hardcore Worldwide VHS cover? He has on a white leather BDP jacket. I stole that and lost it. And then the hat that KRS-One had on, the original BDP hat, the one he had on the cover of the By All Means Necessary album, the one he wore in the My Philosophy video, and he had on the cover of the album, I have that hat in my possession. One day I will pull that out and show it to you guys. It's one of my prized possessions. It's in terrible shape, but I still have it. So that's a great question. Controversial, what up? Benny Doyle, what's good? Shout out from Toronto. Benny Doyle says, shout out from Toronto. Kenny, what was the sealed envelope copyright and mailing it to yourself thing that Emma Brown was talking about last week? What did that mean? Yeah, we were talking about copywriting, and they call it the poor man's copyright, where if you have, say, a transcript or even music on a cassette or anything, you can mail it to yourself. You take it to the post office and you mail it. So the post office will stamp the date on it that it reached the post office, and then you'll mail it back to yourself. So now you have a sealed copy. You have whatever it is you put in the envelope sealed with the stamp on the post office that dates it. So you can say that this, whatever's in this envelope, existed on at least this date because it was in the federal post office. And they call it a poor man's copyright. So you can like copyright your stuff. So if you ever have to say, well, I wrote this, or, you know, I made this song on this date, and here's the proof because I mailed it to myself and it went through the whole system and came back to me and it's sealed. But like I said, I heard that might be able to be challenged in court. Maybe you can open the seal and seal it back. I don't know how that works, but I do believe that the poor man's copyright is good, but it's not the end all because it can still be challenged in court. So do it, but don't let that be your only means of copywriting your stuff. Let me scroll down a little bit. I'm not even going to put this. This is actually funny. Tybo 2020, but I'm going to leave that there. Oh. Let me scroll down a little bit more so I don't miss. I just want to try to find something that looks interesting. Once again, for those that just checked in, this is the DJ Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And next week will be my brother Evil D from the Beat Miners and Black Moon fame will be here. Oh, I'm going to love this, y'all, because me and E talk so much that a lot of the conversation we might have on here might be a conversation that we've been had. But I'm going to bring E on here, and it's going to be great. Great DJ, too. I'm talking about him as a producer, but also a great DJ, man. It's a great question right here. Ed Olivier. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Kenny, what's up? I was watching Love's Gonna Get You video. Who's the guy that played Rob? The guy that played Rob is Pal Joey, the guy who produced Love's Gonna Get You, Duck Down, 13 and Good off the Sex and Violence album. And he's also the club producer that did Hot Music, Hot Music. Y'all know that. Doom, 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 doom. Y'all know that. Same guy who did Love's Gonna Get You also did Hot Music. And he played Rob, the drug dealer, in the video Love's Gonna Get You. Shout out to Pal Joey. I do believe he's living in Europe now. And he also has a credit in Thong Song. I do believe somewhere in Thong Song, I think they sampled something from Pal Joey, and I think they had to pay him. So he has a credit on Thong Song, which is probably enough money to buy a house with the publishing on a song like that. Let me see. MMA Crossfire, thank you so much. I've been reading the book too. This book, Best Read Slow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you purchasing the book. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. CMC's Technique, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. I really appreciate it. He says, salute to you, Kenny. Have you been in contact with Steady B? The answer to that is no. I have not seen Steady B since the 80s. I've mentioned on the channel before that I was in the studio when they were recording the remix to Sirius. I stopped by the studio and they had already finished recording the song and they were just mixing. And is there any way you and Heather B would ever get back in the studio and put out another banging album? I love your production style. Thank you so much. That would really be on Heather B. We've spoken about some things. I don't know. That would really be on Heather, tell you the truth. I'm down. Heather's very busy. She has like 3 radio shows on Sirius XM right now. Shout out to Heather B. Shout out to Sway in the Morning. But if she ever wanted to do something, I would be dope. Kishi says, Kenny, nothing wrong with being a fan. I know. It's how can I put this? My experience in BDP and in the music business is that a lot of people are very reserved. And, there's a thing like, I'm not sweating nobody. You know what I'm saying? I know who you are, but I'm a person too, and I'm not sweating nobody. I think that's a New York thing too. Like even the boroughs don't speak to each other. Like you from Brooklyn, I'm from the Bronx. We don't speak to each other and all that stuff, whatever. So I think it's a lot of that. But I've always been the type of person to, if I like your music or if I like what you're doing and I see you, even if I don't know you, I might walk up to you and introduce myself and say, hey, you did this or you did that. And I really think it's dope, and I like to give people their flowers while they're alive. And because of that, I've met some very interesting people. I met Pete Rock and we talked about it when he was here, because I walked up to him when he first came out and introduced myself and told him I liked his song Mecca and the Soul Brother, and we became friends. I met DJ Premier because I walked up to him. Gangstar had opened up for BDP, and this is even before I was the DJ for BDP. I was at the show and I was just starting to DJ, and I really liked that song Manifest. And that was Gangstar. They had that one song Manifest, and they opened up for BDP, and I walked up to DJ Premier and I told him how much I liked the music and his scratches, and we became instant friends after that. I've met quite a few people, and I would say 85% of the music business of the people that I've spoken to have been very open. And then, like I said, there's been some people who I've spoken to and they've been very standoffish. I don't think that, if I don't look at it as it's something wrong with me, I look at it as something wrong with you. If somebody shows you love and you don't reciprocate, then, what can you do? But anyway, Chris teases me about that. So, yeah, but thank you so much for saying there's nothing wrong with being a fan. Corey Flood says, Kenny, what's up again? Connecticut in here. What's good? Let me scroll down. This is interesting. Crusher Blackwell says, Kenny, I came across this pastor online dissing 50 years of hip hop by saying it's the worst thing happened to Black community, blaming hip hop for pants sagging, violence, etc., which is bullcrap. It absolutely is bullcrap. As a person who grew up in New York City, there was a lot of violence in New York City. New York City was the crime and murder capital of the world before hip hop. Dudes make it seem like the 60s was all New York looked like the Brady Bunch in the 60s, and then in the 70s, hip hop came along and messed it up. Nah, that's not what happened. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of crime. Pants weren't sagging. They had on bell bottoms and, gabardines and all that stuff. But those dudes in the 60s and 70s was off the hook. New York was off the hook. So I'm only speaking for my hood, but New York City in the 60s and 70s was off the hook before hip hop. Now hip hop has glorified a lot of what's going on in the streets, but you can't blame hip hop for crime. It has glorified crime, but crime has been here, and crime is in neighborhoods where there is no hip hop, and crime is in other communities. It's more of a poor thing than a music thing. Emma Brown, Kenny, what do you feel about people taking your book out of the library because funds are low and I read mad books? I have no problems with people taking books out of the library. I'm a kid who grew up in the library. I just want people to read the story. I don't care how you get the story. I call this, the book is called My Brother's Name is Kenny. I call it the greatest true hip hop story ever told. And I believe that this is the greatest hip hop story ever told. And I want people to read the story. So I don't care if you take it out of the library, as long as you read the story. Did KRS invent the term boom bap, Nicholas? I'm not sure. The first time I heard the phrase boom bap, well, KRS used Return of the Boom Bap, but I remember Q-Tip, didn't he say the boom, the bip, the boom bip? Didn't he say that on People's Instinctive Travels? So I don't know if the boom bip, I don't know if the boom bap is part of the boom bip. I don't know if KRS-One invented the term, but after he said Return of the Boom Bap, from that point on, I do believe that boom bap became a term to define the New York sound, heavy, loud drums, boom bap. So I wouldn't say KRS-One I don't know if KRS-One invented the term. He might have, but he definitely popularized the term, in my opinion. Joey Joe, what up, KP? Did you do anything for your birthday after the live broadcast? No, I did not. I was in the bed, yo. I don't know. I'll be going to bed mad early and be getting up mad. I'll be going to bed early. Well, for me, 9, 10 o'clock, and be up like 5 in the morning. That's been my routine lately. Let me scroll down. I'm way behind. In the there's like so many comments, y'all. So I'm trying to get as many as I can. I read all the comments after the fact, y'all, but I try to get on the ones that I can read or comment on. This is interesting. Imperial Jet MC, Kenny, KP, can you speak on the My Philosophy video? I remember it being filmed near the shelter that Scott worked at. Some of it, yeah. I was only there for a piece of the My Philosophy video, which was the club scene. And I'm in it this much, and I was there all day. And even when he said, my brother's name is Kenny, they never showed me in that part. Me and Just Ice was at the video. I think it was at a club called The World in New York City. And there's a part in the video where KRS-One walks up on stage and he's holding a mic and he's giving everybody pounds. And if you notice, when KRS walks up on stage, and then Miss Melody is sitting right at the stage, she's the last one he says hello to. If you notice in that video, when KRS walks in, behind him is the BDP crew, one of them being me and one of them being Just Ice. Was behind him as he came in. That's my only recollection of that video. I was in that one piece. Let me scroll down. DJ Greek Corner, do you still scratch on records? Yes, I do. I still scratch sometimes. I still do some 45 parties. I got one coming up. Shout out to DJ Misbehavior. Shout out to Vinyl Nights. I got one coming up in Brooklyn in August. If you guys in Brooklyn, I will be out there. We'll be rocking. But yes, I still mess around with the vinyl. KBG at the 100 said, buy the Common and P-Rock album first and then listen. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do all of that. Let's see. KP, it is a good Rosmer. Kenny, have you ever thought about writing another book that focuses more on your time with BDP and your epic fails? I thought about it, but I think it'd probably be better if I just tell it like I'm doing now. That's one of the purposes of the channel is to give more of my recollection of being in BDP. It's so much, y'all. Like the amount of stuff the amount of things that happened in just 1992 would be a whole book. And I'm trying to get out as much as I can. And I'm trying to also filter the things that I can say and things that I probably shouldn't say, you know? So yeah, but the answer to your question is I'm probably just trying to say as much stuff as I can instead of writing another book. But it's been in my head, though. Yeah, anyway, says, yes, Movado, that's where I got it from. Yes. I knew it. I was like, I know this sounds familiar to me. Def Rocker says, I miss going to brick and mortar spots to buy albums. Yeah, me too, man. I used to live in these places. Used to live just digging, buying albums to listen to and digging for records, man. I'm going to talk to Evil D about that too because he's one of the classic diggers. We're going to get into that too. Joey Joe says, Uh-oh, if Evil D will be here next week, Kenny, you better start writing down a bunch of comeback jokes about Evil D because he will bring the heat. Yes, he does. You know, but me and E go back so far. We've had so many conversations. I am prepared for my brother Evil D. Derek Stanzel says, my only wish is that KRS would have said, Kenny Parker, he's down with us. He actually did on the remix to I'm Still Number One. If you check out the Numero Uno remix, and I was actually in the studio when he recorded that, I was sitting there watching him rhyme. And he said, Kenny Parker is down with us. He said that. And check out the I'm Still Number One Numero Uno mix. Let me scroll down. This is interesting. Corey Flex said, which is the best-selling BDP album? That's a good question because there's an official and unofficials. I mean, Chris would know better than me, but of course, Criminal Minded unofficially sold a couple million. But that album is practically a bootleg. It's been on so many different distributors, and it's so much shady business going on with that there's lawsuits and escrows and all kind of stuff going on with that album. But I've heard that album has sold in the couple millions. Officially would be on Jive Records. I would say he has 4 albums that went gold on Jive. Or is it 5? By All Means Necessary, Ghetto Music, Edutainment, and KRS-One. Edutainment and I Got Next. Those 4 went gold on Jive. So I'd say out of those 2, I heard that Edutainment was close to platinum. I had heard that before. Platinum being 1 million sales. I had heard that years ago. I don't know if it went over the hump. It probably hasn't, or we probably would know. It would probably be certified. And I Got Next was probably his biggest selling album, like first week wise. It came in the Billboard Top 100 at number 3. So that was like Chris's biggest album as far as charts. And I believe Step Into a World is probably his biggest single. So I would say off the top of my head, not counting Criminal Minded because you just don't know, that's definitely probably number 1, but who knows? I would say that we know about it's either between Edutainment and I Got Next. That's a great question. Chris would probably know. He definitely would know more than me. Corey Flex said, which is the least selling BDP? Ghetto Music, Sex and Violence. When you mean BDP, you mean BDP or KRS-One? Because, you say BDP, I can't even count. I can't even count I Got Next because that doesn't even count then because that's KRS-One. So you say BDP, Edutainment would be the biggest selling because Criminal Minded, who knows? And he said, which is the least selling? Ghetto Music is a gold album. Sex and Violence would be the least selling. Sex and Violence, Return to the Boom Bap, and I do believe KRS-One's album, the self-titled, they all sold about the same. I'm not sure about the KRS-One album. Let me not comment on that. I know Sex and Violence and Return to Boom Bap actually sold about the same amount of records. And Return to Boom Bap had big singles on it, but I think Jive dropped the ball on that album. I think Jive dropped the ball on KRS-One's whole career, in my opinion. Let me scroll down a little bit, y'all. Ox says that Kid Capri break on the heel was dope back in the day. Yes, it was. And he gave me a shout out. And I was in the studio when he recorded that. Shout out to my dude, Kid Capri. Maybe one day I can get him on here. That is my dude, Kid Capri. Love that guy, man. Let me scroll down. This is interesting. Jamal Live, Jamil. Any new KRS-One music coming out this summer? I saw a Diamond D and KRS project that's coming. Did y'all see that? I saw it on Diamond D's Facebook page. I didn't even know anything about it. So look out for that. Diamond D and KRS. Let me scroll down. Elroy says, where can I get some BDP merch with the original logo? Well, if you go on, I forgot KRS's site, but I know if you go on his Instagram, is it teacher_KRS-One or is KRS-One_teacher? It's either teacher KRS-One or KRS-One teacher. You can find all of the merch that they're selling. You can find a link to the merch that they're selling there. They got all the hoodies and T-shirts and all of that on his Instagram page. I guess it'll direct you to where you can buy that stuff. I see a lot of comments about this. People still talking about this, who created hip hop stuff, but I'm just gonna move past that. I was gonna comment on it, but I'm just gonna not comment on those things this week, y'all. I'm just Great Beard said, let us move on from the discussion. It's old now. Not only is old, but it's, to me, it's corny. Sorry, y'all. I'm looking at comments, trying to find something that's interesting to comment on. I don't really want to talk about certain things. I see people talking about Evil D. Yes, for those that missed it, next week, Evil D will be on the show. I saw this, Gregory Nettis, what up? I saw this, a piece of this interview. I thought it was interesting. LL Cool J and Jay-Z had an underrated beef. He says, I never liked Jay-Z. I mean, I'm not going to get into that part, but I saw that LL was saying that he was chilling in the club and Source Money ran up on him trying to battle him. And they said a few bars, and then Jay-Z ran up on him and said some more stuff. And LL said he just didn't have any more rhymes to say. That's pretty interesting that Source Money would run up on a giant like LL Cool J at the time, and LL would take out the time to go back and forth with him. But that's the thing, when you're a rapper, people are always trying to come at you. And I saw that LL was talking about that with Jay-Z. This is before Jay-Z came out. Apparently they ran up on LL trying to battle him. See people here talking about Steady B. Yeah, Steady B got life in prison. Yo, KP, did you know there is a new Diamond D and KRS-One album coming out in July? Yeah, I just spoke on this. I'm just seeing your comment now. Yeah, I saw that on Diamond D's Facebook page. So that was basically news to me. Don Dallas TV, what's good? Hit the like and subscribe. Grab Kenny's books. Thanks for coming. Yes, hit the like and subscribe. Hit the like and subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. I got some more epic fails I'm going to do too and bring those on. I got some stories I want to do. Just trying to figure out some of the stories I wanted to do. I decided not to do them for certain reasons. So, but I got some stories that I want to do. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, y'all, if you've not subscribed. I see people here talking about Freddie Williams, although they meant freedom, yeah. Somebody was, I couldn't stand Freedom Williams. Shout out to Freedom Williams. That's actually the homie. He's a big hip hop head, and I used to see him in the club all the time. He's always been super cool with me. You know, there's a lot of scandal behind that record, but shout out to Freedom Williams. At least his part on the song was his real rhymes. He's always been cool with me. Freedom Williams is a cool brother, y'all. So I'm gonna shout him out, man. Kennard Roberts says, should Cool C be mentioned in hip-hop history as a contributing factor with the unfortunate events that happened to him? That's a good question. I mean, the way people get canceled, there's people that's been canceled for certain things. What Cool C did, I mean, he was looking at the chair. He was in the chair and got a stay from the governor. I mean, he was a hip hop rapper. He had videos out. Him and Steady B. That's why I always say on this channel that you cannot judge people by their videos. And I always say that this whole music industry is an illusion, y'all. And that's the whole theme of this channel that I've been trying to explain. This whole music industry is an illusion. It's a sleight of hand. It's like watching a David Copperfield magic show and believing that it's real. The guys that you see that look the hardest in the videos, they don't be the ones that be hard at all. It'd be the exact opposite. It'd be a dude like Cool C who's in the video singing, ooh, ooh, you got it, the glamorous life. It'd be a dude like that who really be gangster. For those that don't know, I don't want to talk about too much on YouTube because they'll flag me. But go look and see what Cool C and Steady B did. They really took it to that level. And if you look at their videos, you would not even imagine that they was living like that. When I was in the studio with Steady B, him and KRS and D Nice, especially D Nice, they was all cracking jokes back and forth on them. They was cracking. I remember D Nice snapping on Steady B. They was having a good old time in the studio when I was there. And look, Steady B was actually super gangster as it turned out. So don't believe everything that you see and hear, y'all. This is interesting. Writing Dirty Face. Yo, I've always wondered about collaboration and what's the relationship between KRS and Dead Prez. Salute. That's a good question. I don't know the answer. I've met Dead Prez before, and they were super cool with me. I don't know if they ever met KRS. I don't know what their relationship is, but I've met Dead Prez, and they were nothing but cool. So shout out to those brothers. That's a great question. We need more Dead Prez, man. Them dudes were real with it. This is wild right here. Mandy Johnson said there was a lot of violence on the slave plantation long before the creation of hip hop. I mean, you could take it all the way back. I mean, to blame hip hop for violence and things that are going on in the street, you can't blame hip hop. You could blame hip hop for sensationalizing things that's actually happening, but you could blame it no more than you could blame Scarface movie sensationalizing, you know, that Cuban, you know, situation. I don't want to say it on YouTube, but you could blame Scarface, you could blame Goodfellas, you could blame a lot of things for sensationalizing a lot of things, but it's really going on in real life. There's a lot of hip hop that's positive. How come the pastor didn't talk about all the positive music that came out in hip hop? Because if you're gonna say hip hop was the cause of negativity, then you got to say the positive hip hop was the cause of a lot of positivity too. Let me scroll down. I'm like way behind on the comments. I'm just gonna go all the way down. I say this every week, y'all. I see a comment about, I always love any comments about Pearl Washington. Kenny says he played against Pearl Washington in high school. He kind of put Syracuse on the map. Yeah. I played against Pearl Washington twice in high school. He's the best player I ever played against, I believe. And I talk about my escapade against Pearl Washington for those that read the book. Kenny, I must disagree. Rap music has been a bad influence on blacks. It embraced and promoted a lot of the worst. Bad influence on blacks. I can see where you can say that. Hip hop has been, see, that my argument is that hip hop is not saying anything that does not already exist. I'd see if hip hop came with something that did not exist, and then because of rap, it became popular in the streets and caused problems. Hip hop talks about gang banging, and some of it talks about gang banging, drugs, violence, sexualizing women, things like that. This is going on and been going on. So to say that it influences blacks, it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I think all of these influences came before rap. But now rappers have glorified it and made it cooler. Some rappers have. I definitely believe that. It embraced and promoted a lot of the worst. It also embraced and promoted a lot of the best. You know, if you're going to say that, then you got to say a lot of the best. I mean, there's been some great conscious records that really resonated with a lot of people. You have to say it all. If you're going to say it has promoted the worst, you got to also say promoted the best. I don't like a lot of the things that I've seen in rap, although I'm old enough to understand it. A lot of it is just entertainment. Most of these gangster rappers don't even live the life that they're saying on records. So I'm old enough and wise enough to know that I listen to rap the same way you watch Rambo. Same way I watch a Rambo movie is the same way I listen to gangster rap. Most of it is not real. These guys are not real. But I can see where you're coming from. I mean, that's a debate. We could debate it. Ilroy said, I think T. La Rock said boom bap on It's Yours. He probably, the boom, the bap, the boom bap at the end of the record, right? I don't think it's stuck though. Like he probably said boom bap on the end. He did say boom bap on the end of It's Yours. That's a good call, Ilroy. But then nobody else said it. That came out in 85. When did It's Yours come out? 85? 84, 85? Nobody said boom bap again till Return to the Boom Bap 10 years later. So I would say that he probably said it first, but like I said, KRS-One popularized the term, but T. La Rock absolutely said It's Yours. That's my man T. La Rock too. Y'all think he would be a good guest on the show? Maybe we should invite T. La Rock on the show. Y'all let me know if y'all think T. La Rock would be a great guest. That's my homie. I will ask him if y'all think he would be a good guest. That means I'm looking at this. That means I'm way behind in the comments if we talking about that. I'm just gonna keep it moving, y'all. And Have you ever met King's son, and do you have any stories of so? Absolutely. King's son is the homie. He goes back to the Latin Quarters days. And there's urban legends about a beef between King's son and KRS-One. And I'm here to tell you that's partially true, and I was there. And I haven't told that story as of yet, but I will someday. I've been trying to ease off on the beef stories, y'all, if y'all notice, because it attracts a lot of negativity to the channel. So I've been trying to ease off on them because there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them, y'all. And I mean, if y'all want to hear some more beef stories, I'll tell them. But, you know, the thing is that a lot of this stuff happened so long ago, and like people made up, they're friends again, blah, blah, blah. And if I bring it up, it's like reopening an old wound, you know? But stuff happened. There definitely was a King's son KRS-One incident, but it didn't go down the way people talked about it. But there was an incident. But outside of that, King's son has been nothing but super cool. I saw King's son last summer. That is the dude. Shout out to King's son. Benny Doe says, special mid-July Kenny Parker episode. We're going to go 2 hours tonight. I don't know if we're going to go to... Wow, we're at an hour. I didn't even know we're at an hour, y'all. Damn. I'm going to go a little while longer. If y'all want to go a little while longer, we can hang out and talk. I'm trying to get to as many comments as I can. I don't think we're going to go 2 hours, but I'm going to try to get to a bunch of comments, man. I'm see if I could see some that, you know, something that we could talk about. Let's say Fat Five Freddy did the My Philosophy video. Yes, he did. Let's see. Do you have a favorite vinyl record stores? Well, most of them are gone now, but in New York City, I used to go to all of them. A1 Records, of course. Shout out to A1 Records. I was going to A1 Records before they were A1 Records. They used to be a record store in the back of a bookstore on 17th Street in Manhattan. I think it was 17th and 7th or 17th and 8th. 17th and 7th. There was a bookstore that sold books. And in the back was like a section. They had a bunch of records. I was buying records then, and then they moved and opened up A1 Records. So I've been going to A1 Records since they were building the shelves there. That's one of my favorites. I used to go to Beach Street in Brooklyn a lot. Off the top of my head, those would be the two that I remember going to the most. Rock and Soul I used to go to a lot. Shout out to my man Money Mike. I used to go there a lot too. But yeah, those are my favorites. A1 and probably Beach Street Rock and Soul in New York. Kenny, did you ever go to the Roosevelt record conventions in the 90s at the hotel? Yes, I was talking to Pete Rock about that when Pete Rock was on the show. He talked about the whole record convention thing. But those that didn't catch the Pete Rock interview, it's on this channel. I think I did it 6 weeks ago or so. Go check out the Pete Rock interview I did. We talked about the record conventions. But yes, I used to go to the record conventions. Absolutely. Everybody used to be there. Kenny, is there any dope unreleased KRS-One rhymes that you could spit? No, I've never rapped a day in my life. I used to have one of Chris's rhyme books. Chris had so many songs that never came out, y'all. It's a shame. he'd come in the studio, he used to have like a bag with notebooks filled with rhymes all the way through. And a lot of them songs never came out, especially the ones back in like the 80s and 90s. I would have loved for him to put them out. And they never came out. So unreleased KRS-One for me to spit, no, but there was a lot. I wish I had some of them notebooks that he used to have. You know, I saw this anyway. Chill Rob G will be performing in Brooklyn on Friday. Red Alert would be DJing. I might go to that. I have a wedding to go to on Friday. Shout out to my homegirl V. She's getting married. So I might miss that. Or maybe I can go afterwards. Because, I haven't seen Chill Rob G perform in decades. For those of you that missed it, Chill Rob G was on the show about 3 weeks ago. Coriano, can he bust a quick rap, something original? Man, listen. Like I said, I've never rapped a day in my life. Nothing. Nothing. Anything you've ever heard me say on a record, KRS-One told me to say it. Terrence Hill said, best-selling BDP would be I Got Next because of Step Into a World remix with Puffy. The remix with Puffy, I don't know if it really sold the album as much as it got radio play for the single, which of course would sell the album, but the album came in at number 3 in the country before the remix. The Step Into a World original is what pushed the album. The remix really took the record to places where it never got played. I've mentioned this on the show before. I used to look at the sound scan because I love stats, as you guys know on the show. I love stats. So I used to look at the sound scan in BDS. BDS is every time your record gets played, it gets registered in the computer. So you can see every time your record gets played everywhere in the country. And that's how they chart records to see who gets played where. It's called BDS. It came out in like it came out in the early 90s, but it wasn't really popular to like the mid-late 90s. And that's the industry standard now. But Step Into a World remix was getting played in places like Denver, a place where BDP never got any radio play in Denver ever in my time there. But Step Into a World remix with Puffy was getting was getting played in places like Denver and like places in the Midwest and Rocky Mountains, places like that where there's no BDP, but there was a lot of Bad Boy. And because of Puffy being on that record, and I got to be honest, I never really cared for the remix. I remember when they agreed to do the remix, I think I told this story on this channel, but I'm going to tell it again real quick about the Step Into a World remix as I remember it. We did a show. I believe it was Kid Capri's birthday party or something like that. And everybody was on the bill. BDP, Jay-Z, I think Blase performed. There was like a bunch of people on the bill. And Puffy was there. And this is right after Biggie passed away. And I saw Puffy and Chris meet, and they started talking. And I was trying to eavesdrop to hear what they were talking about. And basically, Chris told me later on, Puffy was saying that Step Into a World was one of Biggie's favorite records before he passed, and that Puffy wanted to do the remix. And Puffy had not been outside since Biggie Smalls died. And so this was going to be the first remix that he did. Keep in mind, he was the hottest producer in music at that time. And this was going to be the first remix that he did. And because he wanted to do this remix and because Biggie would have wanted him to, he was going to charge Chris half price, something like that, to do this remix. So half price for Puffy at that time was probably full price for anybody else who was big. I kind of remember the numbers they were throwing out, but I don't want to say, but it was a lot. But Jive was ecstatic to get a Puff Daddy remix for that price. And so they agreed to do the remix. And I remember they sent Chris the reference track, and it was like a gap for Chris to rhyme, and then Puffy's rhymes are on there, but it wasn't Puffy. It was somebody else saying Puffy's rhymes. So whoever wrote Puffy's rhymes were saying Puffy's rhymes on this reference track. So it was like, Puffy's gonna go here, he's gonna say this, and then there's gaps, and you rhyme here. And I remember like the beat was so simple. It was like a regular like James Brown beat. And I was just like, I don't know, like the beat is so regular. I was just thinking like, I know like Puffy was, that was his thing. Like he was bringing back a lot of break beats, but it was just, to me, it was just so regular that it and used before that it just seemed like I wasn't really feeling it. But I understood the value of it. And so they eventually did the remix, and it did very well for BDP in certain areas. So, but I'd still say I Got Next, edutainment, because you got to understand, records be selling for years and years and years and years. Sometimes it takes decades for a record to go gold. It just keeps inching along, inching along, inching along. And every time you put out a new album, your old catalog gets a bump from people who just discovered you. Like if you get a hot new record, there's people like, oh, wow, I never heard this guy. And they go back and you always get a bump on your old stuff. So I do believe hearing that Edutainment was one of the records that was inching along, inching along. This was years ago though. So it could be I Got Next or Edutainment. Like I said, could be either one. I think I just answered this, but Nicholas said, Kenny, be honest. Did you ever want to be a rapper? No. Never crossed my mind. I always wanted to be, I wanted to be a DJ, but just to make mixtapes. I never dreamed about DJing for BDP. That just kind of happened. I don't want to go into too much detail. Got to get the book. But I always wanted to make beats though. Being a producer is my favorite thing. Making music, making a beat and hearing it on like the radio has to be one of the most exciting things ever for me, for any artist. To hear your song on the radio is unbelievable. And for me to like hear my beat on Soul Train. I've seen a track that I made in my living room be on Soul Train, and the people dance on the Soul Train line, down the Soul Train line to my beat that I made in my living room. I used to wake up every morning as a kid and watch Soul Train, as everybody, I think everybody in every black household in America used to do. Soul Train Saturday mornings was a ritual, and Don Cornelius and the whole thing. And I have lived to see one of my tracks played on Soul Train. They danced to it. Unbelievable. So to answer your question, I never wanted to be a rapper, but I wanted to be a producer. And actually got to perform on Soul Train BDP. Did I ever tell you guys about the BDP, my BDP Soul Train experience? Somebody write in the comments if I told that story already. If not, I'll tell y'all the story. It's actually kind of funny. Maybe I'll do it as an epic fail, or maybe I'll just tell y'all. Let me scroll down, y'all. I'm trying to see if there's something. This is an interesting comment. Shannon Togo. I feel if KRS-One's solo albums had better production overall, he would have had more classics. Fair comment. What do you mean by better production? Because it's about timing. So we're talking KRS-One solo albums. So you mean like from Return to Boom Bap on? I don't know. Here's one thing I'll say. After Sex and Violence and the end of BDP, Jive and I guess the record company or whatever decided that it was time for BDP to have a new sound. And I disagree with that. I think that KRS-One, the producer, is underrated. And KRS-One produced and co-produced all By All Means Necessary, Ghetto Music, Edutainment, The Bridge Is Over. He produced some of Sex and Violence, some of even Return to the Boom Bap. He has like 4 or 5 beats on there. Mad Ism, Take It Easy, Mad Lion. Like he's had a nice, KRS-One, the producer, has a nice discography, and Chris has a certain sound in his mind that he's looking for. And I think that maybe after Illmatic and how that team of producers became the thing, because if you guys remember, before Illmatic, it usually was one producer produced most of the albums, and there was a continuity of sound, and I kind of liked that. But after Illmatic, it kind of became get a bunch of producers and a bunch of sounds from all over the place. And I think it worked for Illmatic and it worked for some people, but I don't think it worked for KRS as much. As I think KRS-One should have stayed being the lead producer of KRS-One. I believe that. I think there was more to get out of him as a producer, but because Sex and Violence didn't sell, the record company got scared and they went away from it. I did a whole breakdown on the Sex and Violence album on this channel about a year ago. You guys go back and watch the Sex and Violence album breakdown. I go through the whole story of Sex and Violence from my perspective of what worked and what didn't work in the aftermath. You know, and to say, when you say better production, you mean like who could he have worked with? Like he worked with Premier, but it's not easy to get Premier because Premier was super busy. He worked with a lot of the greats. I mean, I don't know. The answer to that question is, if any album had better production, any songs would have been that. Saying that for KRS-One could be basically said for just about anybody. But my answer is yes. Had he had better production overall, he would have more classics. I would say yes. That could be said for anybody, but yes. And I think KRS-One should have produced more. I think it should have been more him sprinkled with other people, not mostly other people sprinkled with him. I think there was more to get out of him as a producer. That's just my opinion. And based on even looking at 94, after Return of the Boom Bap, he was still making beats. You know, Oh Yeah, he did. Black Cop, me and him did that together, but that was his idea. You know, there's a lot of stuff that he did that shows that he still can make records. Like Mad Ism was a ridiculous beat. And I was talking to DJ Premier a few months ago, and he was telling me how they was working in the studio when they were working on Return of the Boom Bap. He said there was a pause in the action, and he said he watched Chris make Mad Ism for Channel Live. He watched Chris make that beat while they, like in a break between working on Return to Boom Bap. Chris made that record for Channel Live, which was a big rap record. I say that to say if he still had that in him in 94, we should have got more of that. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, but I think that's a great question. I like that question. We're coming up on 1:20, y'all. I'm going to go a little bit longer if y'all want me to. Michael from Mortis, KP, do you consider Man and His Music a BDP album or just a compilation? I consider it a compilation. I consider it a remix album. That's what it was. It's a remix album. They got people different producers from around the country to do remixes. So I consider that a remix album, not really a BDP album. Terrence Hill says Sex and Violence sold bad because of the beef with PM Dawn. That's partially true. But go look at my Sex and Violence breakdown. Free Thinker, will you ever interview Rakim? Well, yeah. Somebody got Rakim's number? Sure, let's call up the God. Maybe he'll just come through. You think it's that easy? I'd love for the God to come through. Are you kidding me? I have no contact information on the God whatsoever. Anybody knows the God, invite him to the show. Hardcore said Boom Bap didn't sell. I thought that did its thing. No. I mean, it sold about 250, 300. It sold the same with Sex and Violence. Gold is 500. It sold about the same with Sex and Violence. And I think Return of the Boom Bap, one, I think Jive dropped the ball on that album. And I think the music was bigger than the sales. But also, you got to look at that time in history. 93, 92, 93. The East Coast as a whole, sales were down. I could probably name you 7 to 10 classic albums from that time that did not go gold, at least. Off the top of my head, that were incredible. I can name you Boom Bap. I can name you Enter the Stage, Black Moon. I can name you a couple of Gangstar albums that none of those went gold. Gangstar didn't go gold until 97. Neither Brand Nubian album went gold or the Pooh Bah album. With Goes Around, Comes Back Around Again, Giant Red, none of that went gold, or Leaders of the New School. Pete Rock and CL Smooth's first album, classic, that didn't go gold. These are all East Coast bangers. That's 7 right there. I'm sure if I take my time, I could probably name a few. J. Rue the Damager. I could probably name a few that were classic albums at the time. Even Nas's album took a year to go gold. Nas didn't really pick up, Illmatic didn't really even pick up a lot of steam until after the second album came out. That one went to the roof, went double platinum. Then a lot of people around the country went back and said, wait, he had another album before this? And went and got Illmatic, and then that went platinum. It took like a year. Even Enter the 36 Chambers took a long time to go gold and probably a year and some change to go platinum. I don't even know if the Jizz's album is gold. And I say all that to say, in that time, all of the East Coast was down. I say the only people that were really doing big numbers was Naughty, Tribe, even De La Soul. Balloon Mind State didn't go gold. Dope and crazy. You know how much I love Native Tongue on here. Balloon Mind State didn't go gold. I don't believe at that time it didn't. But I said to say the albums that were big at that time was Low End Theory and those two and Midnight Marauders went platinum. Those two, Naughty by Nature. '92, '93. The choice is yours. Black Sheep went gold. Das Effects went platinum. So there was those that went, and then a bunch of them that didn't. So who's to say? But yeah, Boom Bap is one of KRS-One's most classic albums, but it sold about the same as Sex and Violence. Actually, all of those albums sold the same until Step Into a World came out. And that took Chris up. That went gold in America. That went gold in Canada. It was huge in Europe. And even that album, that was a dope album, but that one big record, I think you take Step Into a World and put it on any KRS-One, any of them other KRS-One albums, and it would have went. That was a special record that was on the radio around the country, around the world. I mean, I could just talk about how different BDP shows were from before that record came out to when they came out. That was a big record for us, y'all. That was a long-winded answer. Sorry. I'm going to... Anyway, he says we need about 3 hours when KRS-One comes on here. Yeah, when I do Chris, I'm gonna do Chris at the crib. It's gonna be a whole big. It's not gonna be like a split screen and all. When I do Chris, we're gonna do like a whole. That's when I'm gonna wait for him to come off the road, and we're gonna try to do. I'm gonna talk to him. I want to do a whole big thing with him. There's so much I want to talk to him about. And there's so many ongoing conversations that me and him have that I would love to bring to you guys. I'm going to do a few more, y'all. Let's see. Yeah, Joey Joe makes a good point. Yeah, B-Boy Records is so shady. Yes, they are. Every few years, they keep reissuing Criminal Minded on vinyl and CD with a different color vinyl, or CD with a new barcode, or yeah, it'd be on some new distributor. It's just, yeah, there's no way to know how many copies that record sold. There's no way. They gave Chris a gold plaque in commemoration for it at least selling 500,000. They at least admitted to that. They did. I don't know if it was certified by the RIAA, but they at least decided to give him some recognition. Gregory Ness said, Honest would be an amazing guest. Word up, son. Yes, they would. And they sold a lot of records too. Def Jam was selling. I forgot during that era. Redman, EPMD, they were selling. Redman, EPMD went gold. So yeah, they were selling at that time. Def Jam was doing well. Jive got to be the worst major in the music business. Well, it depends on who you are. I mean, well, Q-Tip said record company people are shady. So I guess he was not happy on there, though they sold well on there. Kool Moe Dee went platinum on Jive. Houdini did well on Jive. Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince was huge on Jive. Depends on who you are. Soul of Mischief was okay. They had a lot of groups. I mean, Too Short did very well on Jive. Spice One did well on Jive. So it depends. I think they didn't do well with KRS-One. I think they had a certain formula with him. Like, we're going to spend X amount of money, and when he goes gold, we're done with it. It's a whole story. I don't want to get too deep with it now because we're at an hour and a half. But one day I would like to talk about my opinion of Jive and KRS-One. Brooklyn Geek says, as always, big up from Flatbush. Big up Flatbush. I'm a Flatbush representative. Flatbush, Brooklyn in the house. Jive worse than Tommy Boy? What do you mean by worse, MMA Crossfighter? What do you mean by worse? Worse promotion? Worse contracts? What do you mean by worse? Tommy Boy has some big groups too. I would say they're about the same. Gen X, does KRS ever watch this show podcast? What does he think? We'll find out when he comes on here. That's going to be pretty funny. I'm going to do a couple more. We're at an hour and a half, y'all. So I'm going to do a couple more. We're going to jet out of here. Thank you guys so much for checking out the DJ Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have no format. We just be talking about whatever. Next week, Black Moon, Beat Miners, Evil D will be in the building, God willing. I spoke to him today, and it's a go. Yeah, I'm gonna answer like a couple more. Let's see. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna scroll all the way down to the bottom and get like there's at least 50 comments that I haven't even seen, y'all. I'm gonna look at it when I get off. I'm just gonna scroll to the bottom and just pick a couple, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Oh, this is something that I would get deep in, but I'm not gonna get deep. Kenny, do you think Drake comes from the PM Dawn family tree of terms of singing rappers? Nah, he's harder than PM Dawn. But when he goes in that direction, I can see that. I would really like to do a Drake breakdown, man. I've been thinking about this a lot. But to answer your question, when he's singing, I can see where you would say that. All right, y'all, I'm going to get off. I see people here talking about the record stores. Daryl D says Academy. I used to go there. I used to go to all of them. Andy Johnson says, you ever see the documentary on Tower Records? Enthralling. No, I did not, but I used to go to Tower Records all the time. This is interesting. I'm going to talk about this one day. Kenny P, do you have any stories about when KRS approached the UN and asked for recognition of hip hop as a nation? And he won that. He got the UN to acknowledge hip hop as an actual culture. Hip hop is an official culture recognized by the United Nations because KRS-One went up to the United Nations and convinced them that hip hop was a culture, which is, I think, one of his greatest accomplishments. Incredible. Yes, but I remember when it was going down, there was a little controversy trying to get all the old school guys together. Some of them was with it, some of them wasn't, but he got enough of them together to go to the United Nations, and he convinced them. It was dope. Ilroy, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. I really appreciate it. He says, thanks for this show, Kenny. I have 2 alarms on my phone, one for work and one for the DJ Kenny Parker Show. Yeah, I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. We just be up here talking hip hop, and I appreciate the people that's on. And the people, shout out to the people that's going to check this out on the rewind. I'll catch you guys next week. Evil D will be on here, and we should have some fun with that. And I got some other people coming. Somebody wrote a Master Ace comment. I need to get Master Ace on here. That's my dude. Shout out to Master Ace. That's a cool brother, man. A lot of this stuff is just trying to get people's contact info, y'all. Tell you the truth. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna get off. Pat S. KRS-One lived in LA in the late 90s, right? Yes, he did. He was vice president of Reprise Records. He became they was trying to bring hip hop back. And Reprise Records is the label that Frank Sinatra started. And it had been dormant for decades. And they opened it back up, and they put KRS-One as the head of Reprise Records. But he had to move out to LA because the offices were in LA. So he was out there for a couple years, I do believe. All right, y'all. I'm going to catch you guys next week. Hype Style says, DJ Kenneth, you should reach out to DJ Wiz. I should. That's my dog, as I should. And Spinderella. I don't know Spinderella at all. I never met her. From Salt and Pepper. And also Clark Kent. Shout out to Clark Kent. He'd be dope to get on here. All right, I'm going to get off, and I'm going to check out the comments, y'all. And I will catch you guys next week. Peace and love. And I hope you guys have a great week and stay cool in this hot weather. And I love you guys. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.